bang, bang, bang. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's a slightly different kind of reasoning today.
Cool.
I wish I was with you there in, what is it, sunny
In the tree.
Jamaica? In the tree. Are you in
Yeah.
Jamaica right now or America?
Yes, sir. I'm in Jamaica. The weather is overcast, but it's a lot better than where you are right now, sir.
Yeah,
Forgive me.
it was
Forgive me
snowing
for
here.
teasing. Oh, that's crazy. I could not manage.
Me neither. That's why I wanted to be in Jamaica, but it turned out different.
Well, you're invited.
Yeah,
You're
thank you
invited,
very
sir.
much. Thank you very much. But how are you doing in general now with this whole COVID thing, not being able to perform and everything?
Mentally, for 5 months, I was messed up. I've asked myself, I was keeping away from everything, but started to go back to the studio, and now 2 albums later,
Yeah.
So I'm doing good in terms of the studio vibes and the music.
So
The touring thing, it is what it is. I'm used to it by now. We're not touring anymore. We soon be. It's all good.
yeah. So two albums during COVID. Well, that's a good thing, no?
Yeah, I had to put my energy somewhere. Yeah.
That's true. Um, Tonight or today, now we're gonna talk about the first album that's been released, Live and Livin.
Yes, sir.
16 tracks and around, what was it, 20 collaborations on it. And I've
Yeah.
seen you all over the social media talking to everyone, doing heavy promotion for it.
Yeah.
But before I want to go to that part, I want to go back in time a little bit. Well, maybe not a little bit. I would like to know more about little Seanpaul, about
Okay.
where you grew up, and
Shut that door.
that would be nice if you could tell us a little bit about that, because nowadays a lot of new youths are listening to your music, of course, and
Yeah,
more
man.
youths coming. And since World of Reggae is more like a reggae focused instead of more like, can I call it pop music also? Focused platform. I would like to dive in a little bit deeper for the youths about who is Sean Paul and where is he coming from.
Okay. Yeah.
So where do you
So
come from?
I come from Uptown Kingston, which is known as St. Andrew or just Uptown. So it's not the usual place that you would find a dancehall artist representing from. Actually, very few people from that segment, middle class to upper class to people who have money. I was a middle class kid growing up. Um, uh, it's weird because people don't understand that things could be difficult for me. My father went to prison when I was 13. He didn't come out till I was 19 years old. I represented Jamaica for swimming and water polo during those times, which is something he did. Also, my brother, my mom was also a swimmer in the 60s. So my parents were champion swimmers.
Wow.
And that kind of, I put my energy into swimming as a teenager up until about 24. Uh, all that time I was really just a swimmer. So, all my friends were swimming friends. I'd see them every day at training. We would go out on the weekends together to try to see each other. Of course, I had friends outside of that circle as well. But mainly, swimming life existence. It took up a lot of my time. Morning training, lunchtime weights room, evening training again. Uh, so, but what was it like for me in terms of being an uptown kid? Sometimes you do feel like you're sitting on a fence. You're not accepted in both areas because my father went to prison, and also we didn't have that much money. Uh, the richer kids who I went to school with I didn't feel comfortable around them, and also ghetto kids then that I knew were people from the inner city. They always treated me as, oh, the rich guy. So you felt like you were just like on a fence. Um, for me, that's how it was for a long time until I got kind of just used to the fact that people won't really understand me, and started to get into music to to express myself, and for that very same reason. Um, my music's been party oriented, mainly party and lady oriented, and so people might not get none of that from my music, but that is my reality where I come from. Feeling estranged, feeling like the odd one out all the time, but also just getting those things kind of thicken my skin, and just made me be able to take any type of criticism, which was pretty good for my career, to tell the truth. Worked on my craft when swimming was over. In terms of when I was 24, all of my friends on competition left the country to go to colleges and to swim there or to do whatever, get jobs. I stayed in Jamaica and I started to, hang out a lot more in the inner city and bring, uh, basically start going to the studios with kids from the inner city, and we started a group called Dirty Cup Crew.
Yeah, I
And
remember
so
that.
from there, it's kind of history in terms of my recording career and whatnot. But before that, as you're asking me, I felt misunderstood because I'm an uptown kid, but we really went through a couple rough patches as kids.
Yeah, I can remember. So, what was maybe you don't want to tell, but what was the reason that you were not going to go with the other swimming guys into your swimming career?
We didn't have the funds. Everybody that swam was like, "Oh, I'm going to this or that college." I enrolled and I got accepted, and that was just never a conversation that was being able to have in my house. My father was in prison. My mom was a single mom. She was doing trying to raise two kids and run two small companies, a screen printing company, and also which she and my father started. She would do the artwork. She's an artist, and he would get the business done. Also, she did a ceramics business where she made ceramic pots and light lamps, that types of things, plates, and she would paint on them and that kind of thing. And those things were very draining for her. So for the most part, it was that's the reason she couldn't afford the colleges abroad. I
Yeah,
had no means of going and paying a tuition plus rooming and all of that. So it was just out of the question. It was something that I would never consider. And when they all went, I was looking around to try to get a job. Ended up going to hotel management school up at UTech. At the time it was called CAST, and I did that for a few years, 3 years. And during that time, my career kind of really took off.
yeah. Because
So yeah,
let's go with, you mentioned it before already. Dirty Cup Crew.
yeah,
Let me see. I don't remember it by name. That's
I
with
could tell you.
Lugerman, Kid Corrupt, Mr. Chicken, and Mossy Kid, right?
Yeah, also Daddy Gone.
Ah, okay. And I think last year, 2020, April, a year from now, I think Mr. Chicken passed away. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sad thing, of course.
all right.
How does this whole thing come together with the whole Dirty Cup Crew?
Well, I used to do demos, and the person I did demos with was like, "Yo, I have a little live music thing going on Fridays at this restaurant. It was an outdoors type of Italian restaurant slash Lebanese. So it was a cool place with a bar that you could get good Lebanese food or a nice pizza or pasta kind of thing. So uptown people would go there on Friday nights for a drink up, and you know how that goes. And I would go to this place and sing my songs. From there, I had a brethren that was like, "Yo, my brother has a studio. Come to our studio." And I went to the studio one day. Met my first manager. He wasn't my manager for a few years at first, but he was just a studio. We would go there. We would do dub plates. We would do demos. We would do try to record 45s. And the first 45 that got put out for me was actually from him, Jeremy Hardy.
Yeah.
And so the crew just started to form around there. When I went there to do the dub plates, there was always somebody, other DJs there. And the younger, the ones who kind of was just the young artists, kind of used to sit together and clique together. When a bigger artist came, they would go in, they would, do their work, they would make their money, and we would be outside smoking and talking and reasoning, and we just formed a crew. Daddy Gun was the first one. He actually named the crew Dirty Cup Crew. He was freestyling. I said, like the Dirty Cup, I make we burn down Rome, and he was doing his lyrics. And Dirty Cup meant the ganja chalice.
Yeah.
So that's what it was about for us at first. He had a crew from his area, which was Sandy Park, and they were called Dirty Cup Crew. And then he decided to kind of let us in the group or bestow the name upon us, type thing. And he told all the rest of the gang who wasn't involved in music, kind of like, he's back. Stop telling people you're a Dirty Cup Crew. And that's how it started. It was first me, him, and we had started rolling with Kid Corrupt. And then we let Master Kid and Lugaman in the group a few months later, and we became known as the Dirty Cup Crew, and also Mr. Chicken. Yeah.
Yeah. You said you were amongst the bigger names back then. Who were the names back then that you were in those studios?
Who would come to that studio? A lot of people would come to that studio to do dub plates. So Future Fambo, he was known as Future Troubles back then.
Mm-hmm.
People like Beanie Man would come there. Mad Cabra would come there. Who else can I say was big? Oh, Roundhead from the Monster Shot crew and Ghost and all those guys. So we would see them there and be like, "Yo, what's up?" And we were the younger, crew. Elephant Man would come there as well. We'd scare them, and it was just to mainly do dubs. That's what that studio was about. And they would come with different sound systems. Renaissance, King Adis would come down and they would book time there and take all their dub plates from there. So that's where I kind of just met people, and I knew them before because they were stars, and I would go to other studios to watch them. Like I'd be a fly on the wall, but this was kind of like our studio base, even though it wasn't really owned by none of us, but we just kind of went there every day to do dubs and see what business we could get.
It became your hangout.
Yeah, hangout spot.
That's good. So this was all around 96 or something?
Yeah, from 95, we started doing the dub plates. I started my demos in 94. 95, we did the dub plates. I got my first single out end of 96. So like November 96 is when Baby Girl came out and was on a juggling. And that was basically just like, boom, explosion for me. And the next year, 97 was just calls. Yo, I could take the stage show, this barbecue. I could do some dubs. Stuff like that was happening all over. So, you know how vibrant dancehall scene is when there's new artists or when you have a hit song. And I was both of those things. I had a nice song out there and also just a new artist. And so people were running to me. And then, I just started to blow up. A few years later, blew up kind of bigger than the crew, to tell the truth.
Yeah, that was under the wings of Jeremy Harding still?
Yeah. Jeremy Harding wasn't my manager at first. He was just the guy who had the studio, which we would rely on for dubs and stuff. And then he saw me answering so much calls one day, he just picked the phone from me and said, "Listen, this is Sean's manager. He can't do that today. He'll link you back." And he hung up. And he's like, "Yo, I'm going to tell people I'm your manager from now on because I see you're busy and blah." And I was like, "Yeah, I need one. So, all right, let's do it." And then that's how natural it started. And basically, so we were up there every day. So the days when Future Famber and Beanie Man didn't come there, we just be chilling and writing songs and trying to do different things for sound systems. My brother's sound system, Copper Shot, and also Renaissance was like, and Syndicate sound system. Those were like uptown sounds that really we would just give free dubs to and do dubs for anybody on the radio for free. and other songs would come and actually like what we've done for them and start paying us. So it was just a way to get in the business. But yeah, Jeremy managed me from about, I would say, 90, 98, 97, 98 until about 2010. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
That's a good 12
a
years,
good run.
13 years. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Cause what was the first tune that made you bust outside Jamaica? Was the Baby Girl already?
Outside of Jamaica, I mean, the diaspora is kind of spread out, right? So once you have a hit in the dancehall circles and that's really popular in Jamaica, it goes to, the Jamaican or the Caribbean people in the whole diaspora, New York, London, Miami,
Yeah.
places like that. Those were strongholds then, or places where you felt like your music was getting out of the country. Literally, it was just with more Jamaicans or more Caribbean people, but it was starting to make uh, uh, what you can call it, make moves or have
Yeah.
people make waves. That's the word. So after that time period, now I had a song called "Deport Them," and that was the first one that started to be listened to. What we would call in Jamaica, so the young kid them are listening it hard. You know what I mean? The young kid them. So I go to New York and I'll be doing my usual dub plate runs or a little show would consist about 1,500 people in a club or not even that much. Sometimes 700 people was like, these small clubs. And would do the shows either by myself or build with other major artists in the genre, Spraga Benz, Monster Shot Crew, Scare Them Crew. We would do shows in the Caribbean as well, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana. Those were things that I started to do up until about 98. Then that song broke in a hip hop community about 2000.
Yeah.
So from 98 to 2000, I was doing the Caribbean runs and the small shows. But then about the year 2000 is when it started to be picked up on the Hot 97s and the Yankee them start listening. You know what I mean? And it started getting more vibes. And I went to a signing of a VP Records album launch, and I had a thing called Reggae Gold every year. So the hottest dancehall tracks would make it on the CD. And one of my songs, or two of my songs that year, was on it. And I went to the album signing in Tower Records down in Manhattan, and I saw many fans there. And Chris Chin was he's the owner of VP Records, and he stood up there beside me, witnessing the people like gravitating towards me, and he said, you should think about doing an album. And that was like 99. And then in 2000, I was putting together that album, which was stage one, and it had those songs on it. Hot Gal Today, featuring me and Mr. Vegas, and also Deport Them. And those two songs were the breakout songs kind of outside my genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, pushing me more outside where people wasn't really paying attention to everything that was happening in that space. And also, big up to DMX. Prayers for him. He played a very big role in getting me known with the hip hop community by doing a song with us called "Here Comes the Boom."
Yep.
Me and Mr. Vegas.
Yeah, I hope he's getting better soon.
Yeah, he's been unfit, but we love him for his soul, bro. He has a lot of heart and has always been a hardcore person. You know what I mean? So, let's prayers out to him, man, and his whole fam. I really hope he pulls through. It would be amazing to see that.
After that, of course, things went really fast, I guess. With Temperature, Give Me the Light, Like Glue, Go Busy on the Diwali rhythm, of course. I think that was a major banger.
Yeah, all of those things.
When did you already said it a little bit, but when did you really realize, like, whoa, something's happening here?
For Deport Them, it was for me when I was about to release the first album. I went to a club in the middle of the night in Manhattan, And when I got into the car, I was with two DJs, one that played on Hot 97. And the song was playing. Deport and was like playing. And he was like, yo, you know how big that is? And I was like, it's been playing on the radio before. They're like, no, the dance hall doesn't play 2:30 in the night on a Wednesday. Like, this is nuts. I gotta find out. And I found out pretty quickly I was on the playlist. Whirlwind, you know what I mean? I remember coming out of another club and seeing Damon Dash speed by in a car and stick his head out the window. I say, yo, I know you. Don't move. I'm coming around the block. I'm gonna come talk to you. Don't move. And he fly around the block and he comes and he says, yo, I was listening to your album with a bunch of models this weekend. That's a dope album. I want to buy it from you and I want to buy it from the company. And he was the first major record label at the time to be, or like big record label to be like interested in anything I did. And I was like, yo, I set up meetings with him and VP. And, you know, he was kind of talking too slick for them. They didn't like how he was talking. So they didn't do a deal with him. But at the time they were shopping around and I was being spoken to, like people like Universal was in the mix and other people. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, out of nowhere, Atlantic Records scooped me up. But that was a couple of years later. That was about 2-3 years later. But the indication, the first big song was Deport Them for me. To tell the truth. Yeah, it was added to major playlists all over. And I was like, whoa. And so it was a huge song.
I always thought that it was Infiltrate.
Infiltrate was a big song for me in Jamaica and in a diaspora. And it got me known as the new hot artist and got me on records with DMX and Vegas for Here Comes the Boom. But Deport Them just kind of, it got on every playlist, bro. When it went in New York, it started in Boston, and then it started being on playlists. This is the radio station playlist, so they're telling you that, you know, this song is hot and it has to be played at least a certain amount of times a week. And so I remember, you know, Miami picking it up and all over. So I remember going to Jay-Z's office one time, and Jay-Z had the sound scan thing in front of him as something I've never seen before, and the Billboard charts and the playlists. And he was like, look, bro, I actually had a friend that knew their barber. He knew Damon Dash's barber and Jay-Z's barber. And we said, call us when you're going there next. and he went there and he's cutting their hair and doing their beards. And he's like, yo, I kind of know Sean Paul. And he's like, oh, yeah, I spoke to that dude. And Damon Dash is like, yeah, tell him to come. So I came up there and Jay-Z had all these books in front of him. And he's telling me that, yo, do you realize how big you're getting? And I was like, well, I'm feeling it. And he's like, no, like, look at this. You don't know what this means, do you? And I was like, not really. I don't know what those numbers are indicating. And he's like, yo, my song Big Pimpin' is a huge song for me. It's a big song in the rap community, in the hip hop community. And it's playing 43 times a week. That means it's about 6 or 7 times a day.
Wow.
So your song Deport Them is playing 42 times a week on the playlist. On different playlists all over the country. That's about 6 or 7 times a day. And that is huge for dancehall, bro. And that was kind of one of those moments for me where I was like, yo, this big artist, in terms of his genre, is a big money-making genre. He's got a clothing line. He's a big artist to me. And he's telling me how well I'm doing. And just made me kind of proud at the time and look into things a bit more seriously at that point too.
I can imagine, yeah, because that's what I wanted to ask. How is it that at a certain point, and I'm wondering this also with new artists now, like Protege or Chronix or the upcoming guys, that Coffee, for example, is not the guy, but it's a girl. But how do you handle this certain fame or the sudden fame when it comes at you? How do you, I mean, you're a regular guy in the beginning and then suddenly you turn out to be this big star. How does a person handle that inside of his brain?
Well, I was 24 by the time that these things was happening to me. So I was more of an established personality in my own, like I knew who I was. There's other people that have been doing it from their kids and I can't imagine what that did to their psyche, man. Because when I'm 24 and I'm seeing girls that never used to talk to me before all of a sudden pick up the phone to be like, hey, what up? When I see people that I definitely know just don't like me, just being like, yo, that song's amazing, and you my dog. You remember when we did this and that? Never happened, but you start getting cousins. I'm your cousin. I'm related to you. You start getting friends you never had before. Those things could be crazy as a younger kid to experience and to go through. So I was 24, 26 by the time it was a real major thing. And I guess I just knew who I was and I knew what game I was in. It is a whirlwind though, and it is quite crazy. If you don't know yourself, you could get lost. And that's why I think a lot of people do get lost.
Yeah, because suddenly you have to, everyone's looking at you and you have to explain why and what and how, what you are doing, photographers, everything. So I can imagine that that's kind of fucks up your mind.
Yeah, man. And even people around you, sometimes they're like, oh, they're not used to that change. And it might feel crazy to them. And they might say, I see you talking to this guy and you notice these people, they don't like you. Why you talk to them? I'm like, yo, I'm an artist now. You know what I mean? And they like my music. I have to be accommodating of that. You know, so like people around me had to get used to that. Like, yo, you never used to hang out or part with these people. And it's like, yo, being an artist, they come to you. I ain't seeking this company out, but it happens. And that's another reason what happens to artists here. A lot of people start just hanging out with them, and sometimes it's people involved in some crazy activities. So, you know, I've been blessed to be able to sift my way through all of that.
Yeah, that's good. I think if you know yourself, like you just said, it's easier to cope with all these new changes.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, I'm not done with that. Okay, I'm done with that. And you kind of internalize in your head like what you're about. And when maybe people who are standing right beside you think this dude's all on it with me. But a lot of the time I just kind of knew that, you know, these people weren't really real to me. They were kind of fake, but I was just being accommodating and being the star that they like. And to be honest, it's good to be in that position. You can influence people who are putting their own self in danger to kind of, you know, come out of that lifestyle, because I have that power now. So it's kind of interesting. The word seanpaul thing, you have to kind of know how to use this power that you get from things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Earlier you were already talking about DMX and Mr. Vegas and collaborations and things. You're doing a lot of collaborations. Also, the new album Live and Livin shows that again. Can you explain why you are searching for those collaborations? Maybe not searching, but why do they happen to you?
You know, the first collab I did was probably me and Mr. Vegas. And then I did, you know, the Sasha song, I'm Still in Love. And I did on my album, I worked with Chico. And I've also worked with an artist out here named Mr. Easy. And it was like the thing to do in our genre was to, you know, have a singer sing the hook and have a DJ. DJ. I've seen Shabba Ranks do it from the late 80s. People like Flower Gun.
Yeah.
And, you know, someone sings an amazing hook. Sanchez on Flower Gun. Sanchez sings the hook. He DJs. So then it started to evolve to a point where you sing, Jay. So you sing your own hook and you DJ your own verses. And then I started to mix it up again in terms of doing these collabs. So the first international one was me and Cardinal Official. And he shouted me from Canada. We did a song called Money Jane, which we did very well over there. And I saw the feedback. I saw the amount of spins I would get and how it helped my other records too, like deport them to be broken in his market, which was hip hop, you know, in Canada. So I was like, this is cool. And then I continued to try to do one or two collabs. It helps people to know me, helps me to garner fans. It helps them to get fans from my direction. You know, and it's just strength, you know. And I also learn a lot from working with other people, which is something I've always liked, you know. Even when there's times where I'm writing something, or I'm building a rhythm or something, and you don't know where to go with it, there's always inspiration of this kind of thing, like two heads better than one. When someone
Yeah.
gives a suggestion, it broadens your scope of what you've been focusing on, and you're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Okay, cool, thanks. And we work together that way. So then the biggest one happened was Beyonce, and that was 2002, 2003, when we did it, and went straight to number one, big sexy song. And from there was no looking back, as in just a lot of people just started calling me, and they call me every week, bro. I'm serious. I'm the Mr. Collab man, and
Well, that's why I asked it. Yeah.
That moniker then, or that people that call me, that is annoyed me over the years, because I do have very big single songs. Get Busy, Temperature,
Yeah.
to name a few.
Yeah.
To name a few.
If I can tap into that, one day I was driving in my car, and this Dutch radio station, I think it was 3FM or whatever, and there was this young DJ, and he actually quote unquote said, seanpaul is the one that only comes on lyrics and says ba bang 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 seanpaul. Yeah, and he didn't know. I was almost grabbing my phone to call this radio station and said, you know what kind of track record this man has?
I appreciate
that. I really was kind of upset about him saying that, because it's way more than that. Okay, that's a sidetrack.
Yeah, but I agree, man. There's so much more, but I guess that when it started to go really international, really popular, that's when certain people come in, certain fans. They check in then, so they really pay attention or know more of those songs than they know my own singles. And that was always annoying to me, but also, as I said before, I saw the benefits from it. And so I mean, first of all, dancehall music, it's a huge music. It's very powerful, influences many genres such as pop, reggaeton, Afrobeat, Trinidad music. All of that stuff is come off of what we've been doing. But we don't get the accolades, and we don't get paid as much. And so for me to make money, I had to do these step outs, bro. I had to,
of course,
do stage shows and do step outs when people shout me. So it's always been like, maybe people think I do a lot of step outs, but I've also denied a lot of step outs. Sometimes I just don't like the song.
Well,
and if it's that for me, then
that was another thing that I wanted to ask, because I can imagine that you cannot just put two artists in a room and magic happens.
Not all the time.
There has
to always work.
There has to be a vibe or some magic going on, or
exactly.
Because sometimes people say, "Hey, why isn't he doing a collaboration with this and this artist?" Well, maybe because he just don't even like this artist. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Probably correct. But also, even artists that I like, sometimes I've gotten into studio with them. Ashanti, love her work, love her voice, love her writing she's done for J-Lo. I love her more R&B stuff. She loves my music. She loves Jamaica. She comes here all the time. But when we've been in a studio, we just didn't have the right rhythm or the right vibes at the time, and we just didn't do nothing. It's been a couple of times now where we're together, and it's just like, maybe the conversation is better.
Oh yeah.
But you know what I mean? So there's sometimes I just don't do this, do work with someone. So you can imagine how much times that I'm being asked, or how much times that I do, because you can see the amount of collabs. So that I'm saying that I deny some people is that you could get a picture of how much there is. My vocals are standout vocals. People always comment on that to me, whether it be an engineer who never heard me before, and be like, yo, I never even, like, I've heard one song before, but your vocals are kicking in my ears right now. It's crazy. Or whether it be someone who knows my work forever, they're always, your vocals are so clear. And so that's helped. And I guess I get to, I kind of put a twist or my dancehall interjection into whatever people do, whether it's the Saturdays or Clean Bandits from England, or whether it's EDM producer as in David Guetta,
Because I even
check
found
me out.
out you did a collaboration with De La Soul. We never know that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was more of just, you know, back in the earlier days too. That was really before. That was when Give Me the Light just started to break off, and they came to me. I was like, "Yo," and to me, that's amazing because they're
Of
hip
course.
hop heroes for me. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, this. So at that time, whirlwind. You know, working with Busta Rhymes, working with them, working with the Clips, because I really like hip hop music, especially back then too. So
Mm.
pretty cool.
Do you think, like earlier you were talking about collaborations and then the DJ would toast and the singer would sing, that kind of went away now, in Jamaican music. I mean, reggae artists with reggae artists still collaborate, but you don't see it as often that a reggae artist with a R&B or a hip hop artist collaborates. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that our genre got so big, and then there's so much people that just want to make their mark that they're trying to go hard, and we also don't have enough any more jugglings as much. Jugglings is one rhythm with a couple different artists on it. And we always loved that in the culture. It always added a great vibe to partying.
Yeah.
Very, very much to partying. And you know, lately it's been that people are kind of, I guess, trying to be noticed so much they're just doing their own work. And so that's kind of the reason for this album for me. I've had conversations with Shaggy and Junior Gang and Bujo often, and what always comes up in the conversation is that we don't, as a genre, collab enough with each other anymore. We don't do enough touring together. So out of those conversations, I believe, came things like the Jamrock Cruise, which is a big collaboration of reggae artists moving together. And same thing, this album, Live and Living, I've been trying to plan it out for years, but the pandemic has given me the opportunity, the space and time to be able to, you know, just put this all together. But it's true, we don't do enough collabs, and we don't do that thing anymore as much. Everybody's kind of for themselves. So I'm trying to show unity in the community with this album.
Well, exactly. That was one of the reasons why I was thinking about that. Because do you also think, and maybe it was in your back of your mind already, by doing collaborations with these artists from Jamaica right now, do you think you can be a stepping stone for them, to like Governor, Intense, you know, the younger ones especially?
Yeah, I mean, everybody I've worked with on here is already an established artist in their own right, in their own community. Even the Dirty Rock signees that I have here, you know, Rasta Joy, Lugaman, people like Ching Ching and Soto Bless, they're on the first single with me on this album. It's called Bossa Bubble.
Yeah.
Those guys don't really have huge followings, but in their area, they're known as very competent, very dope MCs or songwriters or singers. So, you know, everybody I've worked with is already established. But I've also garnered some numbers on this earth that some of the biggest artists in Jamaica don't have. So naturally, with me doing a song with Intense, there's bound to be a couple million people that listen to me that's never heard of his name before.
Exactly.
So you know, for this reason, it's just a great thing to do at the level that I am. You know, before it would have been probably draining on my own star power to try to bring so much people. I couldn't have done this before, a whole album with so much different people. And also, you know, I'm gaining a lot of energy from doing work with Governor and people like Massacre and Skilly Bang, because they're hot in the street in Jamaica right now. And so for younger generations who they were probably 5, but they're now 15, and they're digging music, they probably don't understand the multitude or the monument man that I am. They think I was a man of the moment, but I'm a monument person.
Yeah.
You know, I've been around for years, and just like now, there's kids out here saying, "Oh, DMX, who I know 1 or 2 songs. He's huge in the culture." You know what I mean? So, for that reason, it's just good to do these collabs and kind of bridge that gap. I always thought, why shouldn't Buju Banton be on an album with Squash or Intense? You know, people think that they're all against each other because they don't collab. It's just they don't know each other. They may not respect each other's styles or decisions of rhythms that they try to do. But for me, I'm seeing magic in all of that. I love Buju Banton's work and I love Intense work. So, I mean, I'm a fan of the music. So I don't pick sides like that.
Me personally found it really nice to see Skillibeng on the album, because a lot of people are talking about the new dancehall. Is it still dancehall or is it trap hall or whatever you want to call it? You know, and this way you can still
I do not call it trap.
Huh?
I do not call it trap dancehall. For me, I'm just like, I dancehall, bro. So all these kids trying to call it trap dancehall, to me is that's the water down. When people would look at me and say, "Oh, you worked with people like Amonbeck, or you worked with people like you know, Sydney Sampson, or you work with people like you know, David Guetta," you're watering down the music. I would say to you that you calling it dancehall trap is watering down the fucking Bomba thing. Let's call it dancehall. The fuck wrong with you? There's so much ways that I fought for this genre, by even having meetings with different record radio execs, cussing them the fuck out, talking about why you didn't put Baby Sham on the playlist, why you didn't put you know, Lazo Morgan on the playlist along with Junior Gang song on mine. Why does there have to be only one person that ends up on your playlist, either me or Shaggy or Egyptian? You never put all of us on it at the same time. I fought for this fucking genre, so I don't want to hear nobody calling it no trap bumbuckler dancehall. It's a new sound of dancehall. Call it that. You know what I mean?
Because there's always a lot of discussion about that. It is dancehall still reggae? Is
and these kids will call it that. They will call it. They say they chopping and them chopping and whatever. But the history is there. The history is there to show it. And up to just 2 years ago, Bossy was not a dancehall song from Jamaica, but it's a dancehall track.
For sure.
And it does have some big artists on it, like, you know, Steph London, Wiley, and also Idris Elba and myself. But it's a simple dancehall track. That's dancehall music. And we should all be proud of that and not try to move away from that. We should be proud that Bieber's doing it. We should be proud that Drake tries to do it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it is. You know, a lot of people call it culture vulturism or whatever they call it, but it's still, you know, pushing the Jamaican music forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. And just like with hip hop, when it grew from the Bronx and went to Brooklyn and Queens, and then to the West Coast, and then to South Coast, and then to France and Holland, there's people over there in your territories that do it. Yeah. And so that just means that the music is strong. I don't mind that. I just would like them to give respect to the root, which I don't think a lot of them do. I don't hear them when they're being interviewed say in their interviews, "I love dancehall music. You could listen to this guy on Spotify." When, you know, Spotify interviews me, I have little different magazines or you know, even shows like your own that interview me, and when you say who inspires me, I'll tell you who inspires me, and I don't hear none of them saying dancehall world or this is my playlist, check out Shabba Ranks or check out this or that. So that's why I've always been a little bit ticked off about people who don't give the accolades. But in the same point in time, I can't fight that. They're gonna do it because it's hot music.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
Well, you touch your album again. I want to take out one or two songs. First of all, one of my favorites of the song, I think it's also the one of the first that you released as a video, Guns of Navarone. Like you said, when we started, you are a party lyrics, girls, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
Guns of Navarone is a little bit different there.
Yeah, bro.
I think touching a major issue that's going on in Jamaica right now, gun violence.
And around the world. You know, I'm a conscious person from start. As I told you, I was 24 when I first started to become an artist or someone that's popular and people know. So I knew myself, and I've always been somebody like that. However, it didn't reflect in my music. And reason being, I didn't want to be preachy. I didn't want to sound to put people off, to always be telling you, you know, how your lifestyle should be. Uh, but I've found a way right now to put in my lyrics, especially with what's happening. Uh, just the way to fight it, you know what I mean? To be the change that I want to see in the universe, to fight against the violence and the complacency of people speaking about violence in songs so much. What this music, dancehall music, is for, and hip hop music and reggaeton music, what all of that is for, is to tell you what's really happening in the streets. It's to tell you, it's to be it's to be the newspaper, so to speak, of the street. So when the newspapers or the news stations don't carry the story, uh, uh, the music will. But it just comes to a point where it's too embellished, it's too over glorified. It's not about just telling you what's happening now. It's trying to be bragful and boastful. And when we clash, we talk about each other's mom, or we talk about each other's kids, and I just find it wrong. So I try to be the change, as I said, that I want to see in the universe by putting lyrics like this out there, where I'm telling kids that's not the only way. It's kind of stupidity. It's stupid for somebody else to make that gun and ship it to your country and you shoot your brother with it, when you could use your brain, which we do have. We're the animals with the biggest brain, with the baddest brain on this planet. Whales and dolphins don't have brains like us, neither do monkeys. So we're able to reason things out and find some different and better solutions, and control our emotions. These are things that is human like, or even moving to be godly like. You know, we emulate what God's supposed to be. So when we don't do that, we just being animals, man, and it's stupid. So that's what I'm trying to say in this song.
Yeah.
Big up to everybody who loved it. Big up to Jesse Royal on this song with some potent lyrics. Also, Stone Boy from Africa. He's the only person from outside my genre, or I should say outside my country, on this album. Big up
Fast
to Ghana.
rising.
And big up to Muta Baruka, who's an amazing poet and philosopher and just all around conscious person.
Yeah. One other song that I want to touch, The Plug. I was listening to it, and it might be that I just don't know that street language.
Yeah, The Plug.
Is The Plug?
Well, the plug means I got you. I'm your connection to anything. So I'm the connect guy. If you want weed, if you want girls, if you want cars, if you want planes, if you want trains, if you
Come
want
to you.
yeah, all those things put together. So I'm the plug. I plug you in. I get you connected.
Okay.
Big tune.
This is a hard question, of course, but is there any favorite on this album for yourself? Like, well, that one
For me,
stands out because of the collaboration, or because of the vibes, or because of whatever?
all of them, for me, the collaborations are amazing. I've been fans of these people: Buju Banton, Intense, Massacre, Skillibeng, Left Side. All of these people, I'm a fan of them, and I work together with them. But two of my favorites, I could say, and reason being, it was just really cool to work in the studio and with people who are my friends again. So Spaceship is one of them.
Yeah.
Suko from Ward 21 has been someone who helps me with my productions forever since. He's been a great engineer that makes sure my sound is really good. Also, he's a great artist. And also, another great artist and great producer is Unigang. And those two songs were very, very cool to work on.
Yeah.
We were just drinking and smoking and running rhythms and telling jokes. And, Spaceship was especially special because we did all of it that one night when my brother came and found the sample. My G News from Money Banners Entertainment, he runs my label, and he found the drum. He hit the drum pattern. I played the bass. My brother put a sample in it. Kappa Sean did the sampling all over it and put Sasha in the song and also did editing all over it. So we worked together as a team, a production team, because really I'm just a beat maker, and these guys helped my production to be what it is. And that was just fun that night, man. It was like I felt like I was on a spaceship. It was really cool.
That was a little bit what I wanted to ask earlier, but I kind of skipped, or we answered it already. Like, how can a vibe be? But you just answered that. in a studio when you know great minds come together, artists come together
Yeah,
and just start vibing and smoking or whatever, and
yeah,
it just bubbles up. I
yeah,
actually
bro.
get I had the pleasure to be in studios now and then, and sometimes you just see it happen, and I love
Yeah, the
seeing that.
connection. That night, the magic happened. Like we were sitting down, we built the drum track, and then about 11 o'clock, my brother was like, "Yo, this needs something," and he started working on it with different samples, like from 11 to about 3 in the morning. We was all tired now, so we went inside. I was like, "Yo, scrap that. Let's go." And as we said that, he pressed a button, and it was like, "Do do 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 do," and we were like, "Whoa!" I immediately started to write lyrics. Suko was there, and he started to spit his, and we were like, "Let's do it. Let's do it now." So it's one of those magic songs. It's not every day that it happens like that, but for me on this album was every song special, but this one was just very fun to do, man.
Well, and you can hear it in the song, I think.
Yeah,
Talking about
fun vibe.
samples, one I'm not so happy with is I was working today and listened to your album time and time and time again to just work on this interview or this reasoning, I have to say.
Yeah.
And I walked down the stairs 3 times because I thought my dog was barking. Why is there a barking dog sample in Everest?
Just to when I did that song, I was like, it's a hardcore song, and it feels like, you know what I mean, like a DMX song. DMX does that same shit, same things, and in that part of the song, when I said life is a bitch when she's barking, you better
Yeah.
know we are bark back. I actually said in it. What I asked the producer DeMarco to change it out, just to see how it would sound with like a real dog barking, and I like the sound of it, so I left it. So I'm sorry that you had to check on your
Well,
dog 3 times, bro.
I think
But if you have a dog that sounds like that, he's a mean dog.
he's kind of biggish, yeah.
Yeah, right.
But it was, but I think I will not be the only one running to his dog, see if it's barking, if Mr. Postman is coming. So people beware.
Yeah, right.
Before I want to wrap it up, because we can go through all of the songs, but I think people should do that themselves and just listen to it because it's an amazing album. The other day on social media, I posted a little clip asking people if they had a few questions for you, and I took a few out. If you're okay with that.
Okay. Yeah.
There is this is a Dutch artist called Sanja Lion. If you had not become the artist you are today, what career would you have sought after? Could be the swimmer, but maybe different.
Yeah, I think I would have probably been a swim coach.
Swim coach. Yeah.
Yeah, I did study hotel management as well, though. So there's that. I did not graduate, but because the last year of my hotel management school, my song "Baby Girl" blew up in Jamaica, and I didn't look back. So I didn't finish the final exams, but I could always go and do that back. However, I was a 9 to 5. I did work in 9 to 5 jobs up until I was about 24, and then I was like, nah, I can't deal with this right now.
This is more fun, right?
It is a little more fun, yes, sir.
I've got another one from Stefia Music. Seanpaul, for a budding artist like myself, how crucial is it? Now we're going back to the collaboration again. How crucial is it to collaborate with established artists such as yourself during the foundation stages of his career?
Actually, not very crucial at all. Actually, it would probably spoil your outlook. You should work from the ground up. You should want to be the critically acclaimed dude who's an underground dog that nobody's paying attention to except for 1 or 2 journalists or 1 or 2 DJs. And you should work with those people and your Instagram now, because that's available to you, and your Facebook and your MySpace and your TikTok and your Twitter. You should promote yourself on all of those and keep good relationships with the people in the media who are paying attention to what you're doing. And you should do collabs, but with people who are on your level. Because if I ever did a collab with, even Beenie Man or Bounty Killer when I was just starting, I think I would have been spoiled in the biz. It happens a lot to artists I see. Just do you, bro. We you know, people are seeing you. You know what I mean? You're even being seen way more now than I was when I was just starting out, because I had no Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I didn't have that. I had the relationships I had with the DJs who I knew, and they were the ones I relied on to have a great relationship with, to be like, yo, this kid I believe in, is a good kid too. You know what I mean? I play my music, man. That's very important to me. For a young artist to try and run down doing a song with the Black Eyed Peas or a song with Jay-Z is ridiculous.
Mm.
In the years that I started to do songs with Busta Rhymes and all of that, I was already an established artist in where I was. You know, unless you're in that person's camp and they're actually putting you on, it don't make sense. I've seen many artists do that, put on artists. They get put on. They actually think that they're this shit now, and they forget how to do just the bare essentials of the real thing. So it could be a dangerous thing to be put on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every artist around me, I mention them. I try to take them on tour, as in Ching. I try to do songs with them, but that's me knowing them after a couple of years. But mainly, they've also been in the trenches doing their own thing, and you have to consider that. For every young artist, just know that people are watching you, people are paying attention to you, and you should build those relationships first, because that's what's gonna really be the backbone of what you do. Of your fan base is really what it is. Nobody's gonna be a fan of you if you just go and work with a big artist all of a sudden. Versus you doing a hot song by yourself or with people who are on your same level and coming up. People love that. They love that story. So
get your network up to par.
That's the correct term. Network.
Get your fan base up to par and go.
Yeah, bro. That's what it's for.
One more question from DJ Don Arco. Your amazing dancehall album is out now. Would you consider also doing something like this with reggae artists?
Yeah, actually, I would like to do a reggae one drop album. I would just release a single in December, and it's called Chronicles. It's produced by Baby G, who's King Jammy's son. It's just a dope one drop rhythm, really, really, really authentic reggae track, and I really sound good on them. If you remember, I'm Still in Love with Sasha.
Oh yeah.
And you remember, Never Gonna Be the Same, which is a song I wrote for my brethren Dadagan and a couple other people who have passed away. Those are reggae songs, you know what I mean? Also, Punky, I have a song called Hot Sexy Punky, which is another reggae-oriented track. So there's many that I do have over the years. They just haven't really been pushed. So I kind of want to do that. Maybe when I get a few more gray hairs.
Talking about different things, and that, like you said, when we started a second album during COVID, Scorcha. Can you highlight a little bit of that, because it's not out yet? We don't know much yet, but can you highlight it a little bit what it's about?
Yeah, man. Well, I'm a live and living Scorcher, so I let go an album called Live and Living, and I'm gonna put out another one that's called Scorcher. Scorcher is a more international approach to the production and to even the people who appear on the album as well. People like Sia is on this album. People like Gwen Stefani and Shensia together in one Lovers Rock reggae song. Big tune. People like Ty Dolla $ign, Junior Gang and Nicky Jam, Stylo G, Tove Lo, Jada Kingdom. And that's probably, I think, eight collabs, but I have 14 or 15. I might be adding a couple more. I have a couple, I have a lot of singles on that album too. And this album, again, is a mix of the feel-good music along with some thoughtful music. However, the production style is just more oriented to a more international sound of what dancehall would be. Yeah. Not as hardcore as this one. But it starts to roll out in May. I've done the video for Scorcher, which is a lead out single for that. looking towards the next singles from there. But also, I want to tell people that they could look out for singles from this album. The Boom video is about to be dropped in a couple
with
weeks.
Busy Signal.
The boom with Busy Signal. I heard it's really doing well in Holland, playing on national radio over there. That's amazing. We shot the video for that. You know about Guns and Navarone. That video is out as well, featuring Stoneboy, Jesse Royal, and Muta Baruka. I've shot a video for Intense that's being mixed down and colored and prepared properly. That's a tune called Real Steel. There's another video for me, Skilly Bang and Massacre song that's being edited right now as well. And I did a video for Lionheart. I also plan to do videos for the Junior Gang song and for the Budget tune and for the Spaceship. So we'll see in the throughout the year. I'll be dropping videos from Live and Living, that's this album, but also I'll be on to the next album in a few.
Yeah, people get tired to see your face, right?
Has to be. I'm tired of seeing it, so I gotta make everybody as tired of seeing it too.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to wrap it up. We're almost talking for an hour, but not before. And I hope this video is out before that. Next Saturday, I think you have a big thing also, April 10th.
Yeah. It's actually I think April. It's moved to May the 8th now because I'm sorry about that, man. But thanks for asking because we have had a few lockdowns here because of the spike with the COVID. And so it doesn't suit the times, and they're gonna free it up after that a certain period. So we're gonna we've moved the performance to May the 8th. You know, virtual performances are not really the real thing, but I'm gonna get people to feel the energy. You're gonna be able to taste the Jamaican rum. You're gonna smell the weed. You're going.
Uncle Barris did well.
Yeah. Uncle Barris did very well. February 28th. I was watching that live on Livin.
Wow.
But for me, I don't personally like those. The performances to perform that way for me is a bit low key, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna get the energy up there, as I said, and you will taste the rum and smell the weed, and you will have, you know, a beautiful scenery of Kingston. We're doing it on a beach in Kingston, so you're gonna see the city in the background and feel the vibes, you know what I mean? My dancers are coming, my band is coming. I'm really excited about that because haven't worked out with them in over a year. It's crazy.
So when I'm gonna watch that, I have to go for a trip to the coffee shop first, right?
Yeah, or you feel like you are there. I'm gonna try to get you to feel like you're there.
That's a good thing.
But yeah, you know the vibes.
That's a good thing. Well, I have no more questions. I'm not sure if you have anything to say to your fans or the people that watching World of Reggae right now.
Yo, World of Reggae, I just want to say thank you for the support, for all the fans who have checked me out for over the years. I also want to just big up every artist that I worked with on this album. Some of them great artists and producers in their own right. People like Super from Wild 21, people like Junior Gang, people like Left Side, people like DeMarco who built the track Everest, which is the last track on the album. People like, you know, big up Bugler, dope lyricist, Jesse Royal, also big up people like Soto Bless, Chi-Ching Ching, Intense, Massacre, Skilly Bang, Squash. Yeah, the whole vibes. I really feel good about the unity in the community on the album, and I'm just kind of showing it out there. I hope people gravitate towards it, and I hope people understand the difference. This album is hardcore dancehall music. The next one is more, you know, what we can say, we're pushing the boundaries, but it's still dancehall. And I just respect you for the support always, and salute to everybody. You know what I mean? Please stay safe out there. Crazy times.
Thank you very much, you too. And I would like to end this thing by thanking Destin Media for setting up this interview or this reasoning. And be safe, keep making music, and I hope as soon as we can be on the road again, we will meet somewhere.
Salute, brother.
Blessings. Thank you very much.
Same way.
Enjoy your day.
Whoa. Yo. Yeah. Take it to the limit.